Okay, so my catalytic content system, and essentially this is where we turn your content into a 24/7 marketing machine. So we're going to look at why content matters and what to post about, and then we're looking to actually how to create the content, come up with endless ideas, what to post, when to post, and those kind of things. So let's look at why content matters. So let's be honest, most people are resistant to content because they think it's complicated, time consuming, and they have no idea what to post about. But more likely is the case is the real frustration is because they've tried to post content before and it's either flopped or didn't generate the outcome that they were hoping for. But here's the thing, your content is how people find you. It's how they decide whether you're the coach that they want to work with or not. And when done right, with the content system that I'm showing you, when paired with consistency, this will be your 24/7 marketing machine that's working when you're not working to help you generate leads and clients for free. So here's why content works. So if you think about it, when you need help, what do? You typically go to Google or you'll have a look on social media to try and find the answer or the solution. And your dream clients are doing exactly the same. They're looking for someone who understands their problems and can help them solve it. And your content is how you show up in that search. So it proves that you get their struggles, you understand what challenges they've got, and you also have the solution that they need. But here's what most coaches get wrong is they try to be everything to everyone. So they post random tips, motivational quotes, whatever they think is going to get them views and likes and those kind of things. But we're coaches, we're not influencers. So we don't get paid for the views and likes we get. We get paid for the clients that sign up and pay to work with us. So posting what's popular, the random tips, the motivational quotes, or whatever you think will get views and likes, that doesn't work. What does work in terms of generating leads and clients for us is posting content that speaks directly to your dream client about their specific problems, their dreams and desires, and those kind of things. And you're doing that on a level that nobody else is doing. It shows that you fully understand their situation and positions you as the best person to help solve their problems. So let's go through my extremely simple but extremely successful ARE content framework. So I've created what I call the ARE content framework. This will allow you to build the know, like, and trust factor that initially makes someone want to follow you, but ultimately want to work with you. So this framework attracts new followers while simultaneously nurturing your current audience to warm them up and make them want to work with you. And the whole process is extremely simple and also quite enjoyable. So it's a 3-part framework, and this also doubles up as your step-by-step creation process. So the first thing you would do is choose the topic, the types of content that you're going to post. You would then choose the posting schedule, and then you would choose create the content ideas. So that's kind of the process. So you choose the topic, then you see what's on the posting schedule for that day, and then you come up with the content idea. So essentially what I'm going to do now is walk you through each of those steps so it's all completely clear and you can kind of understand how this all works and follow the process through. So let's start by looking at the content types and the content topics. So the things that you're going to talk about in your content. So with this content framework, you only need 3 types of content. Authority content, which is the type of content that shows that you know what you're talking about. This is where you prove that you're the expert. It's where you share the tips by Smith, teach valuable information and provide knowledge, but also prove that you've got the results and the testimonials that you can do what you can say you can do. We've then got relatable content, which is where you're kind of saying, like, we're just like you. So this is where you show your human side. It's where you share your stories, your struggles behind the scenes for both you and your clients. Because people buy from people. So these relatable types of content is where you build that connection and relationship with someone online. We've then got engagement content, and this is essentially where you're trying to spark engagement and conversations on your content. And the goal with this type of content is actually to generate views, likes, and comments and those kind of things, so that your content gets pushed out and more people see it. So the goal with this style of content is that we do get views and likes on your content to get it pushed out, so people see it, and that creates curiosity. They tap on your profile. Then your authority and your relatable content is what builds that connection and makes someone want to follow you. So unlike what most people do is they just go all in on engagement content to try and get views, likes, and hopefully go viral. What we're doing is using 3 types of posts, which kind of combine everything to encourage people to follow you, but also to nurture people so they want to follow you and actually end up working with you. So engagement content, you can ask questions, create polls, anything to kind of get people talking. And what I've kind of used as my secret weapon is to add some controversy, polarity, challenge things which go against the grain, say stuff that goes against what people believe. Just be prepared because it can get a bit spicy. So depending on how much engagement and how controversial your content is, that's just something to be aware of. So they're the 3 types of posts, super simple. We don't need to do anything else really beyond that in terms of the types of content that we want to post. So what topics should you talk about? So essentially we want to pick 4 or 5 topics or categories that your avatar cares about that you know well and are going to be completely relevant to your coaching and what you do. So the topic isn't the individual bit of content that you actually post. It's not the visual bit that you see. The topic is the category that content will fall into. So you don't just need to pick 4 or 5. You can have more categories if you want, you could have like maybe 10 categories, but just be aware the more categories you add, the more watered down your message might become. So what I recommend is picking 4 or 5, maybe 6 different categories, and then after a period of time, you might see that one specific topic is performing well. You might notice a specific area of that topic is doing well and focus on doing more content like that. Equally, you might find one topic doesn't perform that well, so you might just get rid of that topic altogether and test a different topic or category. So if we look at some examples, we've got for a health coach, it might be nutrition, workouts, mindset, energy, lifestyle balance. So you can see how those topics will be completely relevant to a health coach. Obviously, those are just a couple of examples. There could be way more than that. A business coach could be offer creation, lead generation, sales, social media organization, and those kind of things. A dating coach might talk about confidence, appearance, communication, self-worth, rejection handling. So how to choose your topics. So think about the problems that your avatar has. What outcomes does your avatar want to achieve? What do you get asked most about? What categories relate to the pillars or the phases in your coaching program? So the obvious one is if you're a health coach, you're going to provide workouts or you're going to provide nutrition. So it would make sense to have one of your topics as being workouts or nutrition and nutrition. The key thing that we need to emphasize is that every single post should feel like it's been specifically created for your dream client. If your dream client is scrolling on Instagram and you don't think that they would stop to read it, then that's probably not going to be a good category. So when we're coming up with categories, we need to think: would our avatar find this category helpful, relatable, and useful and interesting? And if the answer is no, then just pick a different topic. So all you need to do now is choose those different content categories, those different topics. So pick 4 or 5, and then that's the place where you can start, and then over time you can make adjustments. Now let's look at what to post and when to post. So this is essentially going to be your posting schedule. So using the ARE content framework, you can kind of see that it just kind of alternates between authority, relate, engage, authority, relate, engage. So on a Monday, you'll post your authority content. Tuesday is your relatable content. Wednesday is your engagement content, and then you just do that on repeat. So Thursday, authority. Friday, relate. Saturday, engage. And then Sunday, you can kind of mix up and be a bit more flexible. So maybe doing authority or relate content there. So we'll come on to the actual content media and format and the subject in a moment, but that's the posting schedule that I recommend. So just day by day, you've got a different type of content that you're going to be posting on those different days. In terms of timing, so what time to post, essentially it doesn't matter. It's more about what is convenient for you and what can you be consistent with. So your audience gets used to you normal time. They kind of expect you to post at the same time each day or each week. So it's more about what you can be consistent with rather than there being a perfect time. So back in the day, we used to look at our audience insights and see when our audience was most active. But then I started to think the problem with that is you're posting your content when most people's audiences are likely to be online and active. So if everyone's posting their content at the same time, that's kind of the equivalent of deciding to go to McDonald's or deciding to go to your favorite coffee shop during rush hour when everyone's going. So I kind of broke away from that strategy and then started to post outside of those hours. And just stayed consistent with it. And after time, I noticed that the engagement, the reach on my content actually started to perform better. So ultimately, it doesn't really matter. Just pick a time that is convenient with you and you can be consistent with. Typically, I recommend posting daily, so 7 days a week if possible. If you want to post more than that, so twice a day, then that's totally fine. Equally, if that feels a bit overwhelming to start with 3 or 5 days per week, and then you can build up from there to aiming towards that 7 days a week. But as we go through the rest of the content section, you'll see that it doesn't actually take much time or effort to actually post content. It should only take you maybe 10 minutes a day. And the key thing to understand with content is that consistency beats perfection. So it's all about just posting the content and not overthinking it. So now let's look at the prompts and hooks that you can use to actually create and come up with endless content ideas so the whole process becomes really quick, simple, and effective. So when it comes to the actual content idea and thinking of endless content ideas, the best strategy by far that I found is a simple fill-in-the-blank content prompt strategy. And this works because the hardest part of anything is getting started. As soon as you've got something started, the rest of the content will just flow. So by giving you the content prompts, that process is started for you. Essentially, all you need to do is fill in the blank with what naturally comes to mind. So whatever kind of topic or theme it is for that day, all you need to do is fill in the blank with something that comes to mind related to that topic or theme. So we'll put this all together in a moment. So I'll give you the authority, relatable, engagement, content, prompts, and hooks that will help you to quickly and easily create and post your content. You can, of course, come up with your own prompts and hooks. And in addition to the ones that you'll see on screen in a moment, there'll also be an external resource with loads more hooks and prompts on there that you can easily just pick and choose and fill in the blanks. The other way to think about content and the other way to come up with even more ideas is to actually just create content based on the questions that people are asking you. So those are often the best types of content because if one person's asking that question, more than likely other people will also have the same kind of question. So let's take a look at some of these fill in the blank content prompts now. So for the authority-based prompts and hooks, here are some examples. As I just said, there is going to be a separate resource with even more on. So this isn't all of them. That's just a number of examples to get you started. So as you can see, all you need to do is fill in the blank. It's kind of color coded there, so you can see that the bits in color are the blanks that you have to fill in. So if we take the first one, for example, the prompt is the number one mistake people make when trying to. So all you need to do is simply fill in those blanks. So if you're in the health industry, it could be the number one mistakes new mums make when trying to lose weight. In the wealth space, it could be the number one mistake coaches make when trying to make 10K a month online. In the relationship space, it could be the number one mistake shy guys make when trying to get their first date. So you can see all you need to do is fill in the blanks. The prompts work because the hook instantly grabs attention, and then when you fill in the blanks, that's going to directly talk to your dream clients. So they view and engage with the content in the way that you want them to. And then when you combine this with the perfect caption and script formula that I'm going to go through in a moment, this is going to bring everything together, and you're just going to see how simple and effective it all becomes when you're following this simple process. So those are the authority-based content prompts and hooks. And again, there is going to be an external resource with even more on there for you. We've then got the relatable hooks and prompts. And again, hopefully you can see how easy it is just to fill in the blanks. And each time you just pick a different topic, you can use the same prompt multiple times for different topics, subjects, and content ideas. And then we've got the engagement prompts and hooks. And again, all you have to do is just fill in the blanks. I've given you a couple of different examples there as well. So your caption is one of the most overlooked and undervalued parts of content. And I often feel like it's an afterthought, but the caption is what draws readers in and it's what motivates them to engage with you. And I personally feel like the caption is the most powerful part of your content. And I personally write my caption first before I start creating any of the visual elements of my content. So the caption can actually guide your content and it can even stand as a standalone script. So if you want to create video content, writing the caption can then become your script that you use. So this is my proven three-part structure that I use to write highly impactful captions and scripts. So as you see, there's three parts. The first part, or the start of the caption, is the hook. So this is what instantly grabs attention. And the hook is what we've just been through. It's those hooks and those prompts where you just have to fill in the blanks. So those have been designed in a specific way to instantly grab attention. We've then got the middle section of the caption or the script. So this is where you provide the value or the story. So this is where you share the lesson, the tips, the story, the value, and this is where you make it specific and actionable to your niche. And then the very end of the caption is what we call the call to action or the CTA. So this is essentially where you tell someone what to do next. So this is where you tell them what to do with your content. It could be to save, it could be like, comment, share, DM, reply. So that is essentially where you tell someone what to do next with your content. So that is the structure that I use for creating captions and for creating scripts. So essentially it's a hook, then you provide the story and the value, and then you provide the call to action where you tell someone what to do next with your content. So let's take a look at a couple of examples. I won't go through it, but it's more just to show you how that looks in the process. So there we have the hook, then we provide the value in the story, and then we provide the CTA. And then we've got the relatable example and engagement example there as well. But again, all follows the same process. You start with the hook, provide the value of the story, and then end with CTA. And then here's just an actual example of screenshots from a couple of different captions that I've written. So you don't really need to read those, but it's more just to show the structure there of it in practice. And you can see that the length of the content can vary quite a lot. It could go from just a couple of lines to being multiple paragraphs, but the structure is the same. You can, in fact, even use this exact framework or process for writing captions to write emails and those kind of things. So you hook people in with an attractive subject line, which would be the hook. You then provide the story and the value in your content, and then you provide a call to action at the end where you tell someone what to do, which for an email will be either to reply to the email or to tap a link to go somewhere to access something. So when it comes to the actual content formats, this is what we're referring to. So now we're talking about the actual visual that someone sees. So you can see we've got images there, which can be raw and organic, so more like a photo. It could be just more like infographic style. We've then got reels, and there's loads of different ways you can do reels, but it's essentially just a video, which could be video with a voiceover. It could be video with you directly speaking to the camera, or it could just be like B-roll footage with on-screen text or a voiceover. And then we've got carousels, which are the swipe through carousels, which again can be organic photos with text. It could be actual custom made infographic style posts. And to make it even easier to create your content, around this training, there's also going to be a link where you can access my exact content templates. And all you have to do is drag and drop in your own images, edit the text, create your caption and post it. So of course you don't have to use these, you can just pick whatever style works best for you, but I just wanted to give you as many tools as possible to make this as simple as I could for you. I did say that creating content does become as simple as filling in the blanks and drag and dropping. So those are going to be some templates that you can access around this training. If you want to use them, that's fine. If you don't want to use them, again, that's totally fine. So with the formats, most people get caught up thinking that they have to post endless reels and get caught in the endless reel creation cycle, but it's not true. At the time of filming this, I grew my own Instagram account to about 45,000 followers, and 95% or more of my content is static images and carousels, both with well-written captions. So you don't need to be talking on camera all the time if that's not something you're comfortable doing. Equally, if you do want to, and you're great at talking to the camera, then definitely go and do that. You don't need to post fancy graphics or have video editing skills. I've given you templates again for the visuals to help with that. You just need to pick a format or formats that you can be consistent with. So for me, I could be really consistent with static images and well-written captions. I'm not someone who can just create a video on the fly whilst walking, because that just doesn't work for me. I'm rarely in an environment where I can just sit down and film my content. So for me personally, creating static images with well-written captions works great. More recently, I have got into B-roll, so I'll just prop up a camera when I'm doing something, and then you can just add text overlay to that B-roll. But all formats work. Each format has its own benefit. People like to consume content in different ways. Some people prefer visuals, images, graphics, and reading. Some people prefer to sit and watch videos. So the best bit of advice I could give, if you wanted to, is to do all of them. But equally, the best bit of advice is just to pick the format that you can be consistent with. So whether that's static images with a simple photo and infographics with well-written captions, whether that's carousel posts with multiple slides, which are really good for telling stories with a well-written caption, or if that is reels, and then the number of different ways you can do reels, whether that's directly speaking to camera, whether that's B-roll with text overlay, whether that's B-roll with voice overlay, whatever kind of works best for you. Just pick the formats, pick one or two formats so you've got some variety in there that you can be consistent with. So that is essentially your simple but very effective content creation system. That is the process which essentially turns your content into that 24/7 marketing machine for you. So just a reminder, all you need to do is follow that process through. So check the type of content that you're due to post on that day. So is it an authority bit of content? Is it a relatable bit of content? Is it an engagement bit of content? Then you just choose the relevant content topic or the content pillar. So is it about nutrition? Is it about workouts? Is it about confidence or motivation? Is it about offers or marketing? So just pick the relevant topics that you've decided, and then all you need to do is choose a prompt or a hook, and then fill in the blanks, create and post your content, and that's it done. So if you do get stuck for ideas, look at the questions that people are asking you. So every time, what I used to do is create what I call an ideas bank. So every time someone asked me a question, whether I was out and about, if I was in person delivering something, if it was a family or friend and they was asking me a specific question about what I coach on, I would just write those questions down, and ultimately that became an ideas bank. And I turned every single one of those questions into a bit of content. And I would even use the way they asked the question as the hook for my content. So if someone said to me, what's the best protein source for building muscle, I would turn that into the hook. So the hook became the best protein source for building muscle. So the questions that people ask you are a great way to come up with content ideas. You can see what your dream clients are talking about. So go to the online blogs where they're likely to be asking questions, or they might go to for information. Sites like Reddit are quite good as well. You can ask AI to help you. So if you tell your AI, like ChatGPT or something like that, if you tell it what your niche, your avatar, your dream client is, tell them what it is that you do, then you can ask the AI to give you a number of different hook ideas. But the key thing to remember with content is consistency beats perfection every time. Your content gets better with practice, so the more you do, the better it's going to become. So don't strive for like the perfect post each time. Just get in the habit of posting content, use the resources that I've given you, and over time, listen to your audience, listen to your clients and the questions that they're asking, the topics that they're talking about, and you can hone in your content based on that. So the most important thing is to get started with this framework. Done is better than perfect, so post it even if it's not perfect. Just get in the habit and the routine of posting your content. With content, you are playing the long game as well. So of course we've got strategies in there where people are engaging with your content. Your profile will be primed in a way to generate inbound inquiries. We'll start using call to actions that generates conversations. So that's more of a short term impact. So each piece of client that you post can have that impact. But just imagine a full month or a full year of posting content in this way. That's going to be a valuable library and a resource where this content is being seen at all different people, all different times, that becomes that 24/7 marketing machine. So just because you've posted it now and it might not have had the desired impact, that doesn't mean a week, a month, a year from now, someone doesn't see that someone sees that bit of content down the road, they might then take action from that then. And then just imagine that compounded by posting daily, you're going to have all of these different bits of content up there that's just working for you 24/7, even when you're not working. So consistency is the key. Now you just need to go away and start creating and posting your content using the ARE content framework. So hopefully you've enjoyed that. That is it for this training, and I will see you in the next one.